Here at Vanderbilt women's basketball head coach Shea Ralph. Coach, last week of the regular season here. It's another split week here of SEC play. You host Texas A&M here for the final home game of 2024-25. Then you hit the road on Sunday to go to Missouri. So how is your team preparing for this last week of the regular season?
We're preparing for it in the sense that we need to, I've been saying this for a couple of weeks, but we need to play like who we are and to our identity more so than we have been doing in our recent games. And I thought we did that towards the end of the Auburn game, which was why we felt such a quick turnaround. And there have been stretches where we're competitive, but I'd like to see us look more like the team that we can be and that we have been to this point in the season. Our record reflects that. These are 2 games that we need to win and we should win. So we've been practicing in preparation to do that.
Yeah. You have just a few games left in this regular season. How important is it going to be to kind of reestablish yourself ahead of the postseason and try and get some momentum going?
It's important. You always want to be playing, your best basketball towards the postseason. We're definitely not doing that right now. So in order for us to feel good about what we're going to be able to accomplish in March, these 2 games are a good opportunity to do so. And the momentum is important, but to me, the wins are important. The momentum's important, but we just have to look and feel like ourselves. So that can be in practice too. That can be in the weight room. That can be in film sessions. That doesn't just have to be when we show up and play games. So as long as we operate with that in mind every single day, and then we get to we play tomorrow, then we do it a couple more days, and we play on Sunday, then we have the SEC tournament. I feel like there's plenty of time for us to get back to where we need to be, and that's the plan.
What's the biggest kind of key of reestablishing yourself and just kind of finding that identity again?
Belief. Contributions, multiple contributions. I think and tactically, we've got to defend and rebound better. That is really who we are. So we're talking about, some things that are more abstract, but really, you guys talked all year about our defense and rebounding, and that just hasn't been good enough lately. So not for the stretches that we needed to be good enough to beat the teams that we need to beat in our conference. So if and when we do that, then we're going to be good to go. So that's really been the focus on the basketball court is, hey, these are the things that we need to do. This is what we're great at. Let's make sure we get it done so that we can continue to build on the season that we've had.
I think you've talked about paying your hat on you guys at the event and kind of talk about how the last 2 games it hasn't been to that level where you wanted it to be at. What do you feel like your team needs to kind of rediscover that because it's such an important part of you guys' identity?
I think just continue to work on it with an intent in practice and through the mistakes, not get so deflated when we play great defense and someone makes a tough shot, or we play great defense and somebody fouls. I don't think that's always what happens, but you can see it, right? You can see it. So I think we just have to fight through that adversity of, hey, we're gonna play hard and we're gonna have a game plan and we're gonna execute it, but it's not always gonna go perfectly. But we have to play through that, right? We have to play through that, and everybody that comes in and out of the game has to be on the same page, and that's important too. Which is why I talked about contributions. It can't just be 1 or 2 people every game. We need more from everybody else.
Shea, with Diana Taurasi having announced her retirement, having played with her, what do you see her legacy being in the games?
That's a loaded question. Diana Taurasi, she's probably the best player that's ever played our sport. When you talk about the things that she's accomplished, I'm not sure that anyone has ever done those things. So when you think about women's basketball and how far we've come in the time that she's been playing and over the course of the last 30 years, that's synonymous with Diana Taurasi. She has 6 Olympic gold medals. On top of everything else that she's accomplished, think about that for a second. Now, I played with her. I can't even make it up a flight of stairs, and she's still winning gold medals. It was very impressive. Her legacy is that she was the best to ever do it, and that she laid the foundation for the growth that the women's game is experiencing right now. She should be really proud of that, and we should all be grateful that we got to witness how elite of a player in person she was.
With Texas A&M coming in tomorrow, a team that's struggled with injuries this season, and Aisha Coulibaly, obviously the big name that stands out. How different has that team been without a scorer like that on the floor of the last one?
They still have some good pieces. I mean, obviously, it's never easy to lose a player like that late in the season, but they're big, and they have good guard play. And they play tough. It's just the SEC conferences, but they've been playing people really tough. So they're not a bad team. And I don't think that the record they have is reflective of their capabilities. They just play in the SEC. So they really come together, I think, since she's been injured and found different kinds of roles to fill the gaps that she left when she left the court. They have size, which has always been a struggle for us, and they have good guard play. So hopefully we'll be able to match their physicality and rebound the ball. That's going to be really important tomorrow.
I know you've talked about how big these next two games are just in terms of seeding and then obviously trying to rediscover your best basketball. Where do you feel like the sense of urgency is with these next two games with all of that?
I mean, high alert, high alert. We have to. We have to play with a sense of urgency. I think I saw a coach say it's like more of a sense of emergency, but not in a way that your hair is on fire. I think when you prepare a certain way and you're confident in that preparation and you approach the game a certain way, then you can take a breath and know that the results will take care of themselves as long as you play to that plan and you play with that confidence and you prepare that way. And that's what I want the players to understand. There's always going to be big games. There's always going to be big moments. You win those games and moments before the game. And then we just have to execute the things we work on when we get to the game. So I don't want them to play panics, and I'm not going to coach panic. We're just going to go out there and give it our very best effort, understanding that this is a very, very important part of our season in order for us to accomplish our goals this year.
A few days out from the South Carolina game, I mean, you guys obviously played them pretty close at times, and they're one of the best teams in the country. What did you like from that game, or what do you want to take from that and make sure that your team continues?
Yeah, cool. I liked that. I felt that we, even as poorly as I felt like we played, especially offensively, that we stayed close in those moments where we weren't able to get great shots. We're turning the ball over a little bit. The rebounding was like, meh. And I felt like, okay, our effort kept us in the game and our belief kept us in the game. And then we just gave up one too many layups. I felt like some of the turnovers that we did create, we gave the ball right back. And there was a couple of plays in a row where you see like, oh, crap, and when that happens with a team like South Carolina, it's hard to recover. 5 points goes to 20 pretty quickly. And so those are the mistakes that you have to eliminate. But I felt like even when we weren't playing our best basketball, we were still super competitive because the effort was there. And I also felt like we got some good contributions. Leilani Kapnis played with energy and emotion, and defensively, she just changes the game for us. So that was a bright spot as well.
Your thoughts on some of your key players are younger. Basically, Michaela Blakes has had a tremendous season, but she is just a freshman.
Yeah.
You're in the home stretch of the season. This is where people really make their money. What are your thoughts on the fact that her and Camille's only a sophomore? You have some younger players who might not have the experience that other people do.
This is how you get it. You just have to remind them of what this looks like. And I can explain that to them all I want. The older players can explain what it looks like playing in late February and March all we want, but they have to go through it. And the beauty and the challenge for both of them is they do it on the floor. So, their growth is in front of everybody, which is, it's great for them because they're going to learn quickly, but it's also hard because you're kind of in a fishbowl, But to me, what they need to understand is exactly what I said before. The preparation is how you feel comfortable in those moments. And that's true for any player at any age, at any level. So if we can continue to prepare the same way, even though our bodies are sore and it's playing this, everybody's sore, everybody's tired, everybody is competing to play in the NCAA tournament that has the record that we have. And they just have to understand those aren't things you can control, but you can control how you approach practice, preparation, your belief, and know that when you show up to the game and you play with a certain level of confidence, no matter if you're a freshman or a senior, give yourself a good chance to win, then help your team win.
You mentioned everyone's tired, everyone's sore, and that's certainly the case. But when you're rebounding, there's not really an excuse. It usually is just kind of all about intensity. You mentioned how important that's going to be. How much of a focus has that been in practice as you get to the nitty-gritty part of the year?
It's as much of a focus as you can make it. It's not like you can run a play to rebound. You just have to do it. It's just as much effort and tenacity and intent as anything else. So we have been focusing on it. We'll continue to focus on it. Our players know how important it is. And then the guys that go in there and help us do that will be the ones that are on the floor.
All right, Coach, thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys. Good to see you all. Good to see you all.